Young, get them in the building. You don't want to miss this, bro.
Young L on the beat.
We got to run them numbers, man. We saw 1933. 1933. This is when the stock market crashed. And that's when they had the Great Depression. Get ready to come up on something like that here shortly. Probably they're going to talk about that on another tape. But this tape is entitled Murdock's Wedding. Because we had a lot of people asking questions about this tape. Everybody get into it. Now, for all you guys that do a lot of studying, you probably want to get a hold of a book called the Book of Enoch. You might want to have a King James version of your Bible if you're a Bible guy, handy, right? And also, you might want to get a book called The Lost Books of Enki, The Confessions of Enlil, a book called The Confessions of Enlil. You might want to get a book called The Return of Inanna, right? The Lost Books of Enki by Zachariah Snitching. Zachariah told on everybody, told on the Anunnaki. And then they made he said that they were dark skinned people in his book, The Lost Books of Enki. Zachariah snitching. But we're about to get into it. We're getting them time to get in. We got 43 people. That's enough people. That's a classroom right there. So this what we want you to know. For the newcomers, we're gonna have to start from the top, but we're gonna roll it down real quick. All right. So Anu is a title, which means most high. And this title is held amongst the Anunnaki, the groups of Anunnaki beings who came here on Mothership Nubaru, right? For you people that have been following us, you already up to speed. This high being, Raziel the first, had many wives and many children. But the first two children that's mentioned is Enki and Enlil. And they got several other names too. But Enki and Enlil, Enki being the oldest. Then from Enki, the first grandchild, the oldest grandchild being Murdock, right? He got other names too, like Melchizedek, like Ra, like Saint Michael, the angel Michael for you Bible guys. El Kadush, the green one, for you Quranic guys, right? Sometimes people get them Tahuti and Melchizedek mixed up because they brothers, and Tahuti is after the order of Melchizedek. We're gonna be breaking that down as well too. But so Murdock is the grandson of the Most High God amongst the Anunnakis. Now his mother name is Damkina. Damkina is the daughter of Alelu, which is Anu's half brother, they were part Nomos, right? So they would make Damkina Nomos, and then they would make Murdock have Nomos in him, and plus Murdock would have the Dragonians from his dad's side, Inky, whose mother was Dragonian, humanoid looking. So a lot of people tune in and say, what the heck is he talking about? You got to read the Holy Tablets. We got the Holy Tablets posted in the links in the descriptions. You can read that for free for you guys that ain't up to speed on this, right? We're gonna be going. This is for advanced students. The wedding of Murdock is for advanced students. All right, so they would make Murdock have Nomos in him. They would make him have Dragonian in him through his mother's side, through his grandmother's side, who was Inky's wife, right? I mean, through is Inky's mother. Inky's mother, Idi, was part Dragonian humanoid. So they would make Murdock have Dragonian in them, Anunnaki, and Nomos. So you up to speed. Okay. Now keep in mind, he was born, his grandmother was a handmaiden to the first wife. So that by right, the bloodline would pass down through the son that would be born through Atum, which would be Enlil. Right. So you remember the storyline of Abraham having two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Right. Ishmael was the son born by Hagar, the handmaiden. And then his other son was born by Sarah, which is Isaac, who the birthright was supposed to pass to, right? And to make a long story short, Sarah got jealous and sent Hagar and her son off. Although Abraham did bless them, now the blessing is in turn of wealth. Like when you say he blessed them, you know what I'm saying? Nigga bless your game, you know what I'm saying? Right? They hooked your game up. So when they say blessings, that means that he gave them sheep, gold, different things of wealth that he can have to carry off with him. So he did still bless his game, but for the most part, they wanted to pass it down to Isaac, being that he was the legitimate son from Sarah. So the same scenario is with Inky and Enlil, right? So Enlil being the legitimate son, and Inky being the son from the handmaid. So really, the bloodline wasn't going down for Murdock's side, right? But Murdock was impressive with his grandfather Anu, and Anu passed him the throne of Nubaru over Enlil and Inky. We'll get into that part too, though. But getting back to Murdock, will be three different species mix. Murdock had a son, uncle, right? Which is his brother's, which is his mother's brother. His name was Anzu. Anzu was a master builder of these dome-shaped cities. And he's the one that helped build the Garden of Eve, and also he helped Inky construct these temples, or these dome-shaped temples off the coast, west coast of Africa, which he called the Abzu. Right, it was an underwater. It was like maybe like 30% above water, and then like the rest 70% underwater, because Inky was like a water type guy. He liked it being under the water, right? And building submarines and all that. We could get into that because there wasn't no well, it was a submarine, like we told you. It was Inky and he gave the same layouts to Noah, Utna Fish Tomb, to design a submarine. Same layouts that he was making. But we don't want to fast track. So Anzu, who was a Nomos, who could build these dome cities, he got put over the 200 Igigis, or 200, which you say 200 fallen angels, right? For you Bible guys, but it was the 300 Igigis, 200 of them, or 300 of them opt out. Like Anu told me, he flushed the toilets of Nubaru on to Mars, right? and he made like he was gonna set up a way station, and he did. After the battle with his brother, he set up a way station on Mars, and he put Anzu over these 300 Gigis, and their job was to collect gold there and refine it. So when the Nubaru came back on the next shore, which is 3,600 years, they would pick the gold up and transport it straight to Nubaru. And they had operations going on Mars. I mean, I'm on the moon. They had operations going on the moon, right? You got to come in here. Okay. Yeah. So they had operations going on the back of the moon that was ran by Enlil's son named Nanor. We're gonna get into that too. Bless you. We're gonna get into that too. But and make a long story short, they was on their Mars for about 5 or 6 shores, which is like 3,600 years times 5. You do the math, like over almost 20,000 years that they was on Mars doing this goal, and they had no women. They had no women. It was all men and all freaks. You gotta keep in mind how these people look. They would look, they weird looking. These because Anu said they were freaks, he flushed them off onto Mars. So they were all stationed up there. Anzu was over them for a while, and then they started getting restless and tired. Because you gotta keep in mind, at first the Anunnakis were mining the gold before they decided to come in and create this upgraded being, the Homo sapien from the Homo erectus. So they was digging the gold, and they were getting restless and tired, and the head Anunnakis, the ruling class, tried a lot of methods to keep them under control, right? And they use drugs, liquor, women, for some points to keep them under control. But the people on Mars, they got pretty much like shunned and left off, and pretty much Anzu them was over them. They started getting restless, right? And Shamgazu and them, they was all up there, right? Shamgazu became their leader, but at first Anzu was over, and then Mikael was over him. We're gonna get into that. Murdock was over, but the first leader was Anzu, and Anzu, they disguised a plan to come down to a meeting with Enlil, or send a girl or somebody to distract Enlil, and they were gonna steal the tablets of destiny. Now I heard a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, the tablets of destiny, man. He don't know what he's talking about. Tablets of destiny, it's a book." You know what book means? It means kitab. And what do you call your these devices you got now? Tablets, right? It's the same Enlil had. So you really saying, like, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you because I know what it is. So you can say it was a book, but it was more advanced than that. He had a device, like a handheld device. I'm telling you, man. And he could control satellites and shit like that from this satellite. But and then he could communicate with the way stations that they had, and he could communicate back to Nubaru and send messages, right? So Anzu came down and snuck in one of Enlil's pads up by the Jordan River, and snuck in there and stole this tablet and made out with it, right? And then once Enlil found out what was happening, he sent Ninurtu, his son, with Mother Ninti, because he got a son with Mother Ninti named Ninurtu. That's his oldest boy, right? He sent him. He was a warrior. He sent him at the Anzu. They, make a long story short, captured him, took him to the underworld, and sentenced him to the underworld. Now, by de facto, they were trying to find somebody to be over these guys, to keep them calm, to control them. These 200 or 300 niggas that was on Mars, these Gigis. They were trying to keep somebody to control them. The closest person they found to control them was Murdock, because Murdock's uncle Anzu was already over him. Then Murdock had some of the species in him to be able to like be like a middleman. Murdock didn't want to do it though. He didn't want to be over these people, but he followed orders, and Enlil, because Enlil didn't like him, and Enlil said, "Oh yeah, that was your uncle, and so you gotta be the guy over these guys, these 300 guys." So time went on. When Murdock used to go up there to visit him, he didn't like going up there to Mars. to visit these guys, and when he was going over there to visit them, they would complain, giving him their complaints, and most of the complaints was about you know what, right? So people say young elder minds in the gutter. It was about women. They were complaining about women getting some, knocking some down, and to the point where they was getting doing a whole bunch of freaky stuff up there. That's what it's come from. All the weird sexual acts, they come from these 200 Gigis up there being up there so long they had to do other things to pass the time. Would they say it like that? So it started up there with the two with these beings, all the different types of abnormal shit. Sorry to say, something to say, right? So baby Hakeem. So if he was go up there, he would hear the complaints. They would complain, and Murdock would say, "Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna get y'all hooked up." He tried to stall them long enough because like nobody really wanted to get with these cats because they were weird looking, a whole bunch of freaks. So nobody wanted to get with these cats. So it's like this. It's like say you like the cat like in your crowd that be getting all the girls, and then it's cats that hang out with you. They can't get no girls, and then you gotta like try to help talk some girl into dealing with them, right? And but they ugly or fat or whatever, what case may be, where they got low self-esteem and the girls won't even holler at them. So that's how Murdock, being that he was fly, he had all the girls that was after him, right? But there's other niggas that hung around them, they couldn't get no girls, but they ugly. So Murdock kept on like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get y'all hooked up, man. I'm trying to talk some girls into it now. But no girls wouldn't want to mess with these cats. And so after a while, Murdock made a deal with the other leader that was of them, Shem Gazu, said that he'll take his marry his humanoid daughter. Now, when Murdock got ready to wanted to marry this girl, Inky, he went to Inky and he asked Inky. Inky told him, he said, in order to marry this girl, you gotta denounce your throne. You gotta denounce your heritage in order to marry this girl. And then he said we got to send word back to the Nubaru and see if some on the books that prevent this. So they got the Tablets of Destiny sent a message back to Nubaru, and then Anu read it and said that Murdock want to dethrone, denounce his throne, and he want to take on and stay on Earth. And Anu got them to pull out the books and see that would it break any laws. And there was some stipulations in that if he did it, he had to do some. It was some stipulations. And Murdock agreed to the stipulations. He said he don't give a damn about the throne. Like he don't want, like he good because Enlil really was supposed to get it anyway, or then Ur-2, because it's coming down from the bloodline on that side. And he said he don't care, so he opted out to marry the chick. Now keep in mind, this was Shamgazu's daughter. So he still promised him to get the girls. So what he did is he invited 200 of them to his wedding that was going to be in the city of Oro Chaldea, to his wedding. And so they came in ships. If you go watch a movie called Mars Attack, that's really what it's about. It's about these 200 niggas coming, I mean, these 200 Gigis, Nagas, right, coming from Mars to come to they invade. It's like they invaded Earth, right, or invaded Key, right, from Mars. These 200 Gigis, which became the 200 fallen once the wedding incident happened. So before they got here, right before they left Mars, they set up and made an agreement amongst the captains. They said that if you go read the book of Enoch, they tell you that these beings made an agreement amongst each other that when they get down here, they gonna take women, and then they gonna, whatever the punishment is, they gonna agree to accept equal punishment. Right? Murdock, where you get the word murder, because Murdock take niggas' head off. Telling you. And so they got invited to the wedding, and Shamgazu was supposed to give his daughter over. So when they got to the wedding, they started seeing all these women dressed up nice and everything, and they went crazy and started taking women. Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6 is doing Murdock's wedding. People don't know that. A lot of this stuff, people, oh yeah, young crazy, he making stuff up. Nah, bro, this is the real right knowledge. So Genesis chapter 6 is really taking place during Murdock's wedding when these 200 Gigis took women and went off into the mountains with them. This started a battle. They came out to Enlil blamed Murdock and said, Murdock, why you invited him? This all that he was on him like poking the finger, you know how he is, poking his finger at Murdock. It's your fault. You the one invited them here, and now they coming down, taking women and taking them into the caves, and they making babies with them. And you the guy. You because on a slick, I think, man, on a cool though, I think Murdock really like I think he like some kind of way he told them that they were gonna get some at their party. And you know how niggas is, they come to a party, or you come to my party, your homeboy, you come to my party, right? Man, it could be some girls there. You know what I'm saying? You can get in where you fit in. You know what I'm saying? That's how Murdoch taught you that you're gonna get in where you fit in. It's gonna be a whole bunch of girls. So they probably took that as, oh, we're gonna take it in. We're gonna take it. You know how some crazy niggas out here like that. We're gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they did. Shamgazu, I guess a whole bunch of pictures I can show you that they are statues of these Etruscans and how they were taking the women and stuff. And that's Genesis chapter 6. These angels, you call them angels, but they're really extraterrestrials who come from the Centaurian star system and the Nirvana, the Procon star system, and a couple more other star systems. They was really scattered out from Pleiades. It was different types. Yeah, so that ensued the war. Now, if you start reading the book of Enoch, right, you will see that, okay, there was an intermediary. Enoch, or Dapper is one of his names, was the intermediary between the two groups as the beef was going on, right? And so he could speak their languages, right, of the Anunnaki and everything. So you talk about the Most High group, which was headed by this being, this angelical being, who is the 19th elder, Yanun, who becomes in your Bible the angel Michael. And then it was a group of beings with him, like Raphael, uh, Uriel, these different beings. They were part of the archangel or the hierarchy, the Lord gods, because that's what that means. They were Lord gods of a group of beings, these Anunnakis, the Elohim for you Hebrew guys, right? The gods with an S on the end for you regular guys, right? Uh, and so it was a beef, but the wedding still went on because they did it right after the wedding. You know how they had the wedding ceremony, boom, then during the wedding reception is when they took the girls. So Murdock was already married to the girl, and this girl birthed some children, and that starts the bloodline of who you calling the gods of the ancient Egyptians, like Shu, Tefnut, because one of Murdock's names is Ra. Amen, Ra. Right? And during his time when he ruled, it was during the age of Aries. So go back to the age of Aries, that'll give you how long this was ago. Right now, we're in the age of Aquarius. We just came out of the age of Pisces. When Enlil was ruling, we was in the age of Taurus, dealing with the bull. That's why the Israelites came down with a bull. All that's dealing with going to also connected with Mother Ninti. Okay. So it's but Murdock, Michael, right? Yeah, Murdock, Michael, that's all the same person. Melchizedek, the guy who was in the beginning fighting Revelations chapter 12 with against the dragon, which is the reptilians, not Enlil now. See, we discussed all the family beef. You gotta keep in mind, Enlil is family still. So we really talking family inside family, but the beef really is with a certain group of reptilians and Mother Huber, which is a new sister in the Dragonians. The beef is with the Dragonians. They the ones that started the whole thing when they came to Riz and blew a hole in our ozone layer. Enlil didn't do that. Enlil didn't blow a hole in the ozone layer. Enlil beef is like, you know how you got two brothers that's in competition, that type of thing. Hey, shout out Should. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Yeah, but it started a beef between the Elohim, which was the gods, Murdoch, the Anunnaki side, and these 200 fallen, which became fallen after they after they went against orders of Murdock or went against orders of the Anunnakis. Then they became the fallen beings, right? And these beings, the children that they were birthing, and Murdock was doing the same thing. All of gods really were doing the same thing. These Elohim, they were creating their own groups of humans, or not necessarily creating them. They was getting them together and training them. These gods, they were training their own humans of how to fight, or how to battle. Murdock group of beings became known later on as the Magi's. Go look up a group of beings called the Magi's in ancient Kemet. This was Murdock's military that he was creating. These are all people. He taught them how to do. He taught them how to fight, which became later on known as an art form called the Mantu art form. Then later on karate and Doge, all these other names they got. You know, like Taekwondo and all that. Murdock is the one that started all it. If you go back and look on the wall of the Mantu is one of Murdock's names. Mantu. He was the one that was training these humans, because it was something like this: like you a coach or you a owner of a football team, and then you buy these, you find these guys, you train them, and you get somebody to train them. That's what these guards were doing. They were Murdock and then Ertu and them and Nergal and them, the third generation. That's what they was doing. They were training humans to battle against other people's gods. It was like a game for them. Like you train your man up, give them all, give them swords or whatever equipment, and then you send them in to battle another guys. And so Shamgazu and them, they was in the caves in the mountainsides having babies with these beings, and then they started training them on how to make swords and shields and how to do magic and shit like that. That's why if you read the book of Enoch, it tells you that one god was teaching them how to make a sword. One god was teaching them how to, and they all were elves. And they all were elves, like Moors, elves. They had the title El, these beings. These beings knew how to build, they build pyramid style buildings on Mars. When they was on Mars, that's how the pyramids get on Mars. Right? And they were elves. Remember I told you the Moors built the pyramids. See, look. So go look up in the book of Enoch and see that all those beings had El on the end of their name. And so put it together, bro. We don't want to crack too many heads into it. We'd already probably cracked niggas' head into his caps already. But what I'm telling you, I'm gonna get to that. It says, why isn't Mother Hoover in ancient Sumeria? Yeah, she is under different names. Look, under different names. I think I broke that down in the Chronicles of the Anunnaki series. They got different names, like Mother Ninti. One of her name is Ninhursag. Then a name in ancient Kemet is Hathor. Then another name in Greek might be something else, like the Greeks, because every language, it's they in every language. It's just they got a different name for it based on the dialect. And I'll think of Mother Huber's name in a minute. I know I put it in that Chronicles of the Anunnakis tape. Yeah. So where was I at? Eventually they go back and forth. Close that door for me, Hakeem. Eventually they go back and forth, and the Shamgazu them and they beings, they teach them how to do all these weapons and stuff to create their military, and then they send their people into battle, and some of them had giants on their side. If you go back and watch some of them old movies where you see these two armies going and fighting, then they got this big ass tall dude where Shamgazu them had giants on their side, and they would send them and they would go into battle and fight Murdock's people. And Murdock people was good too, because Murdock knew how to fight real good. He trained these Magi people. He trained, hey, going up so I get through. They train these Magi's to be able to do Mantu and know how to use different weapons and stuff. So it was a battle going on the land between humans fighting each other over different gods. Yeah, he got, yes, that's right, Cherry Bay. See, okay, the Mantu is really Amen. That's why he got the falcon head just like Amen. Just like Ra, right? He got the falcon head just like Ra. Another that that falcon head passed down to 2 or 3 beings, because some of them beings were students of Ra or students of Melchizedek. So they got the same hawk head like Khonsu and Haru, right? Haru. He got the hawk head. So that falcon head, and you'll see the falcon head with the Mantu god with the falcon head. That's the same as Ra. That's why I'm telling you that one of Murdock's name was Mantu, and he the one that trained them how to fight this karate. He was the fighter. Michael, the archangel, was the fighter. And the Anunnaki, they knew how to fight, because humans didn't really know how to fight that like this. And we're gonna get into this tape. I'm gonna come back with another tape called "What is the Zoo Type?" We're gonna talk about that, of how, because people was laughing and saying, "This nigga must be high or something," talking about what is nigga zoo type. Do you know that if you go in ancient Kemet, because these niggas are really retarded, that's laughing and shit. When you go in ancient Kemet and you study the Sands Man learn everything off of watching Mother Nature. They learn how to find water off watching the baboon. They even they'll capture a baboon, tie him to a tree, and then feed him salt, and then hold him there for a while. And then as soon as they let him go, that baboon runs straight to the water, and that's how they find water in the desert. So studying zoo types, studying nature, because how these beings survive, they know they survive. They still got the original ways, these animals, on how to survive in the land, and that's why the Caucasian, for some facts, was going taking them and putting them in zoos to try to disorient these animals, so that we start watching the zoo type and how they move. They really tried to change the whole DNA structure of these animals by putting them in zoos, because once they cut off from nature, like you can't, and then they get put back in nature, they pretty much don't survive long. Animals that get put back in nature, they don't survive long. Why? Because they lost their way. We lost our way, that's like them animals, because we've been put in the zoo, in the cage, for so long. I'm telling you, man, we've been put in the fucking zoo, man. And so we don't know how to survive, really, without going to a certain McDonald's, Kroger's, all these different places that they got. Right. But Murdock's wedding is where the whole problem took place at. And from that part, you got different battles. Like I said, my mother, Nana, she had her own soldiers too, but they were girls, and they was all fine girls that they was using, in their own way. We won't want to get into that. You go watch my tape called Nana's House, Part 1 and Part 2 and Part 3. And we're finna get to come out with Part 4, right, which is the birth of Haru at Nana's house. Because Nana's house is always jumping. Everything, they had everything now. The party was at Nana's house. She always had a party going on, some big event. That was her hustle. Yeah, but eventually, that's what happened. And then speed up to Enlil knowing about the pole shift. We talk about that in Anunnaki Chronicles Part 11, the pole shift on the videos, on the live side. You need to go watch them Anunnaki Chronicle tapes, because it speeds you up. As soon as you get through watching the Chronicles, it'll speed you up. And Enlil knew about the flood, but he warned everybody at the last minute, and then only a certain group of people was able to get out. And supposedly a lot of people, everybody perished, but everybody didn't perish. One group that didn't perish is mentioned of in the Bible, Utnam Fishtoon, under the name Noah. Him and his seed survived due to Enki, who is Enlil's brother, telling him how to build a submarine, right? And then in Enlil's book, The Confessions of Enlil, he detailed that he told Ninurtu at one point to seek out the daughters of Cain and take them to the great beyond, and start putting making their own tribe. And they made their own tribe. And then right when the flood was happening, Enlil also did the same thing Enki did, and told Ninurtu to go over to the great beyond, tell them to build a submarine. And they did it. And it's a storyline over here of some beings that was in Canada, in that area right there where Maine and all that area. It's a storyline of them building a big canoe and surviving a great flood, right? So that's another part. And then other groups of beings that knew about the center world, like the Twa Man and the Watusis and the Sandsmans and the Bantus. Some of them knew about the underworld, so they went to the underworld when this switch happened, under the orders of certain gods that they were working for. Like Inanna, because Inanna knew about the underworld. We can get into that too, right? About Inanna going to the underworld. She had a homegirl down there. Uh, a homegirl that was part of the beings that were part reptilian, part humanoid. Plus her sister lived down there, Ariskagel, who was part of the reptilian beings too. Her mother was part reptilian, part humanoid. Hey, we'll take questions, man, before we get out of here. We got about 10 minutes. You got any questions on Murdock's wedding? And he ended up, if you Murdock married Shamgu's daughter, the devil, who you calling the devil, the bad guys. And so the bad guys, so all his children got the bad guys in them. And then not only mention that, Enlil did the same thing. And so Nanar is the devil's grandson, who you calling the devil, Shamgazu them, the 200 fallen niggas. Nanar Sin, which is Enlil's son, and Baal, who is the god that they worship in the Bible, is the devil's grandson from Enlil, the God that walked in the cool of the day. Man, if you don't like this shit is so you don't know whose side you on, really. Whose side you on? Enlil. Enlil was the God that walked in the cool of the day. It said he was a jealous God. He kicked niggas out of the garden. Right? He gets different perspectives on that. And then Shamgazu and them, this same dude, you call him the devil, Enlil married his daughter and birthed children like Nanar and Baal, who became bad gods according to the Bible. They worship the ways of Baal, because Baal took a deal with Alelu to herd the 144,000 children of the Sandsman for the reptilians for a food source. I'm telling you, man. And he ended up getting caught. And then when he got caught, they exiled Baal. I'm telling you, they exiled Baal to the underworld, to the pit. They call it the pit. You call it hell, which is a place really like they describe. It's really like they describe, but it's higher level than what you can know. It's more high level. We designed that place for beings like these niggas. I'm telling you, man. There's no other better place to send them. We got to trap them in there. And it's ways out. It's ways out of that place, but it's gonna take you a while to figure that out. If you're supposed to be down there, it's gonna take you a while to figure that out. How to get out of there. It says, who was supposed to support? Who was supposed to support what? Yeah, it can be cold. You know what I'm saying? What it is, it's imagine, I'm gonna give you a easy description of what hell really is. Imagine a nightmare that you ever had, the worst nightmare you ever had. And then imagine being trapped in that nightmare. That's hell. So it might not be fire for you. It might be something where you dying over and over again in your dream, in a certain type of reality. It might be somewhere I can get into detail on it, but just imagine like a nightmare and being trapped in a nightmare. That's hell. Ain't it? It's a state of mind. That's right. Yeah, it's in your consciousness. That's right. And what traps you in hell is guilt, is shame, these words, and it's dealing with your chakras. We already taught this in the Ascension Manual. Like I say, I got 8 books out right now. One of them books is the Ascension Manual. You can get all 8 books for a $50 donation to the Cash App, The Young Elder. And leave your emails in the links, and I'll send you all 8 books over right now in PDF form. But in a book Ascension Manual, You go look up the chakras, right? And you'll see that the sacred chakra is where you get cleanse your guilt. And this will block you from getting out of here. This and it's also dealing with you making your heart lighter, your heart chakra, because we told you in ancient Kemet we weighed the heart. And that was symbolic of the heart chakra, of you being able to be on the straight and narrow. The straight and narrow is the 7. The green heart chakra, the green light, that's the neutral zone. You got to maintain the neutral zone to get out of here. Because when you fly in a plane, do you fly it all the way to the left? Do you fly it all the way to the right? Or do you fly it on the straight and narrow? Now, you might have to turn and lean to the left, which is really acidic on the alkaline chart, and to cleanse. And then you might have to turn to the right to go alkaline all the way up. Or then you might have to fly in the middle, which is green light, the 7. And I hope you don't worry about tomorrow. I'll be in your corner in times when you might forget your lines. You say, what happened at Murdock's wedding? What happened at Murdock's wedding is they took coochie. They disguised, they came together amongst themselves to disguise a plan to steal some coochie, to sum it up. That's what happened at Murdock's wedding. Hit me with that next question. The indigo purple color represents the crown chakra, the higher frequencies of the crown chakra. I hope you don't. It says, so if we Moors were descendants of the Igigis, okay, well, you ain't finished the question. The reason why they came, they wasn't called Moors. They really were called the Igigis, those who stayed in the sky on Mars and hovered. They really were talking about Mars. Now, when they landed in Aura of Chaldea, right, and then they left that area, the beings who saw them, they said Mu Auras, ones who from Aura of Chaldea. And so that's how they got the name Moor attached. And then they were black, dark skinned, real dark skin. They didn't have 9 ether hair, because keep in mind, Halai was part Anunnaki. His mother was Anunnaki, and his dad was of the Dragonian humanoid reptilians. Tanushnia. When your crown open, you feel. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Willie, shout out Willie, man. Hit that like, Willie. Hit that like. It says, what's the connection between Moors and Chicago tribe gang? All right, so supposedly, and this I heard a lot of perspectives on that. Hey, y'all gotta get up out of there. Let's go. Let's go in there. Let's go in there. So supposedly, Chicago is the Mecca of the West, and you keep in mind they got different Cairo over here in Illinois. You got Cairo, Illinois. Like you got a Cairo, Egypt, Cairo, Illinois. You got Memphis, Tennessee. You got, you know what I'm saying? So it's a mirror effect, right? So supposedly Chicago is the Mecca of this side of the world, right? Which explains why Noble Drew Ali was there, right? Larry Hoover, Jeff Fort, and they was dealing a lot with the Moor science. I heard Bill Cosby on one tape of this presentation he was making. He said that Chicago was called the Stanky Onion, right? And it's like it was like a trading center for this on this land. It was like a international type area. You know how you got this place where all internationals meet up and they discuss things and trade and do all that. Well, Chicago was that spot. So Jeff Fortnam and coming down from Noble Drew Ali, they really was promoting more science. Now the gang thing is the COINTELPRO operations where they use bad jacketing to label these people in the public eye as criminals, so that they can go after them and take them down and stop them and prevent them from threat to national security, which is the U.S. corp system backed by the Federal Reserve private-owned banks. They gave you too much in one sentence right there. The Moors rule Chicago before. That's right. That's right. Hakeem. Shout out Hakeem. That's my son's name, Hakeem. Yeah, so some of the animals, they're telling us that wasn't indigenous to this land was indigenous to this land before they started putting them in zoos. Yeah, man. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that, Q God. Because I hope you don't worry about tomorrow. I'll be in your corner. Says these Anunnakis are very missing. Yeah, like so, and the Anunnakis is a loose term because it was several different types of Anunnakis, right? That's a loose term. So who were they very first to ascend from single cell on the planet or in the universe? Because you could consider the Big Bang as a single cell that exploded. Because Tahuti said it started with chain reaction, meaning once that one took off, one stimulated the next, or one turned into two, two turned into four, four turned into eight. That's how it started with with a binary, or with an explosion from the Big Bang. That's as far as we know. But to me, honestly, I don't think nobody really know, especially down here in human form. We got theories and ideas on how the first now on Earth, some of it was seeded, by Anunnakis. And I believe like some kind of at some point when you travel so far in the galaxy, when the universe, you should begin to go backwards in time or reverse, like a reverse parallel world. It's a lot we still trying to figure out. We about to get ready to go into that. We about to get ready to go into that after we get through putting all this religious information out. We about to go into how these Asgards, who are the oldest race of Greys, how they used extracted nucleus out of an atom and use that as a fuel source. I mean, as a fuel source for they crafts. And these people, they billions of years away, and they can make it here to this galaxy. Their galaxy is like maybe 7 to 10 billion light years away, and they can make it here like in a 2 or 3 days. Now, how fast they flying? I'm telling you, bro, how fast they flying and they craft if they can make it here in that amount of time. Because people were making fun saying that why would an alien fly 2 billion light years just to probe a guy, right? But the thing is, flying 2 billion light years for them can be 10 days or 3 4 days, like traveling like because they craft fly at a what you call FTL, which is faster than the speed of light. And you got some people in the galaxy who got crafts that fly 100 times the speed of light, or 10,000 times. And they got another thing called posthetic jumping, which makes me think that the whole universe really is some kind of simulation or something. If they can do that, if they can jump time and jump from one part to the galaxy to the other side, through these little portholes, these black holes, portholes that's created in the universe. So it's a lot of, man. I'm gonna tell you this. It's a lot of technology that, as the time go on, it's gonna become relevant, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, we know what that is now. But it's a lot of technology that we don't know about that will blow your mind. That's they still talking about element 115, like that's $5 shit, man. These people got all the way to 999 elements on this side of the mirror, and they still on 115. You know what I'm saying? And then these people even got elements from the other side of the mirror, going past hydrogen. When you go into the hydrogen molecule, or you go into the quark, the zillip, and the biop, or you go into, and then you go into the biop, which is really two, and then you see the peons, the negative and positive peons. These people dealing with peon energy. You know what I'm saying? And 0 point energy to where they don't even gotta pay for energy. Energy is free in the universe, but they making us pay for it down here because this is reptilian, Dragonian hustle game to keep us thinking that it's all about money and it's all about paying bills and all that. When energy is free in the universe, I'm talking about unlimited energy. All you gotta do is have the knowledge to get to it. God got the knowledge, but they want to cut us off and tell us we're not gods, so that we wouldn't try to move up to step our game up to go and try to figure out this how to get this free energy. It's one dude that created a machine that pulled water out the thin air. Now he got that knowledge. It's other knowledges that exists out there to where you can create a little box this small and power your whole neighborhood. If you are extraterrestrial, so a lot of people putting start figuring shit out like this. Matter of fact, it's people that's already doing it. They building magnetic energy boxes. They building all kind of stuff in the background on the planet. A lot of high tech energy, high tech technology. Hey, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to get those books, like I say, 8 books by the young elder, you cash out me a $50 donation. We'll send you the books. Leave your emails in the link. We'll send you the books right over. We're about to get out of here. We're gonna be back. Hey, we got a Raw Hayes tape premiere in about 3 hours or 2 hours from now. You want to check that out too. And we're gonna be back tonight. We got another banker coming. Wadu.